Hello. I hope you had a good day. It seems like you're unable to sleep tonight. So let's spend some time together in a quiet, warm place. Imagine yourself with me now, in the soft green glow of a greenhouse, surrounded by rows of tomatoes, heavy with promise. The air is thick with the scent of earth and growing things, and the night outside holds its breath, while inside life unfolds quietly. This is Grandpa in the greenhouse among the tomatoes. Grandpa in the greenhouse among the tomatoes. Part 1. My stool groans softly beneath me as I settle in my usual spot between the third and fourth row of plants. The vines stand tall, their broad leaves brushing my shoulders gently, as if welcoming an old friend. Clusters of tomatoes hang heavy, some still green or tinged with gold, others bursting with fiery red, eager to be picked and savoured. The fruits tell a slow story of patience and perseverance, a reminder that good things take time. I reach out and gently run my fingers along a sturdy stem, feeling the rough texture of tiny hairs and the slight warmth left from the day's sun. The soil beneath is moist and rich, fed by a carefully calibrated drip irrigation system that offers each plant enough water without overwhelming the roots. I pinch off a water sucker that had grown too exuberantly between a leaf and stem, careful not to damage the main shoot that carries energy to developing fruit. There's a rhythm here, a breathing pulse made by the silent hum of fans and the soft drip of water. In a world that often moves too fast, the fans stir the air, keeping humidity from pooling too heavily and threatening disease. It's a constant balancing act, like life itself, keeping conditions just right, nurturing growth while keeping danger at bay. Memories flow like the gentle mist. Memories of your grandmother teaching me the art of tending these plants with a firm but kind hand, reminding me that every cut, every pinch, every drop of water counts. She said the plants listen if you care to hear, and that patience was their finest fertilizer. We learnt together that tomatoes don't rush. They savor every moment of their slow transformation from green buds to jewel-like fruit. I sip from my thermos of chamomile tea, carefully prepared to soothe without stealing away the delight of uncertain rest. The tea's warmth rises softly, merging with the moist earthiness that fills the greenhouse air. Outside, the night is thick with the song of crickets and distant owls. But inside, time curls gently like fog settling on leaves. Stars crown the black sky beyond the glass, blurring softly through the condensation that follows the greenhouse's cooling breath. Plants don't just pass time, they move through it, transforming, breathing, building energy unseen but crucial. Their roots extend like silent prayers beneath the surface, drawing life from a stew of minerals and mystery. Tonight they grow in the quiet, patiently. This cottage of glass and green has witnessed seasons of toil and triumph, of storms weathered and crops gathered. The vines tell stories that no one else hears. The crackle of dry leaves in windless summer nights, the burst of leaves turning with autumn chill, the promise of new buds as early spring dawns. I take up my small notebook, pages dog-eared and spotted with soil, where I record bloom dates, harvest promises, and the slow lessons gardening offers, an unending lesson in hope and stubborn joy. Each entry whispers of a new chapter in a living story, the story of growth, of patience, of love. The drip line plinks steadily as I mark the date of the earliest red tomato. Sighted this season, a small victory, bright as dawn itself. Tonight I'm here to watch, to listen, to feel the pulse of life beneath the quiet. To share this moment with you, wherever you are, so you too can find a moment of peace amid your sleeplessness. Grandpa in the greenhouse among the tomatoes, Part 2. Time flows slow here. It's almost midnight now, 12:03 a.m., and the greenhouse hums with life and breath. The temperature stays between 65 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, humid enough to feed the tomato vines without tempting disease. The plants stand strong, heavy with fruit clusters and waving leaves, whispering stories old as earth. I rise gently from my stool, muscles creaking in conversation with time. The gravel crunches underfoot as I move deeper into the rows, inspecting every leaf and stem for signs of health or distress. The air carries a mingled scent of warm soil, ripe fruit and green leaves, comforting, steady, alive. Pruning is a nightly act of love and precision. Removing water suckers, those eager but wayward shoots, I guide the plant's energy toward the main stem and the developing fruit. Each cut encourages strength, beauty, purpose. Pollination, too, remains in focus. Without bees at night, I mimic their gentle buzz with a handheld vibrator, coaxing pollen to fall and fruit to set, fostering growth, partnership with nature's rhythms. The soil holds its own secrets, a moist, dark cradle teeming with life, balanced by careful watering to prevent root rot or dryness. A delicate balance governs this microcosm. Patience governs the gardener's heart. I pause and reflect, remembering seasons past, shared summers with your grandmother as she taught me, not just to grow tomatoes, but to nurture life itself with kindness and patience. Our shared hands had called life from small seeds to sun-ripened fruit, lessons woven in dirt and love. Tonight, I am witness and caretaker, confessor and dreamer, wrapped in the night's embrace with these growing companions. Grandpa in the greenhouse among the tomatoes. Part 3. The night deepens, 12:35 a.m. now, and the greenhouse is pulsing steadily, fans breathing life through the leaves, drip irrigation delivering steady nourishment. The temperature remains carefully held, air moist and heavy with the scent of life growing unseen. I tend carefully, monitoring soil moisture, checking trellises and string ties that support the heavy vine branches weighted with fruit. Each tie is a delicate balance, secure but gentle, supporting purpose without breaking tender stems. Pests and diseases are silent threats, but the balance of nature is my ally. Beneficial insects patrol. Natural plant companions ward off invaders. Integrated pest management guides my hand and heart. Each flower bloom, each cluster of small green fruit, signals hope, a new chapter in an ongoing story that stretches beyond this night. Memories come unbidden, the first seedlings planted, the hands guiding growth, the quiet lessons learned in patience and care through seasons of love and loss. Here, in this sheltered world of glass and green, the slow magic of growth continues, steady and sure as the turning stars overhead. Grandpa in the greenhouse among the tomatoes, Part 4. It's nearing 1 a.m., and the gentle promise of dawn whispers not far off. The air remains warm and moist, safe for these tomatoes as they rest on the cusp between night and morning. I take a deep breath and settle one more time onto my stool, knowing the night is nearly spent. The plants around me sway lightly in the breeze from the ventilator. The steady drip of irrigation is a gentle heartbeat, accompanied by my own slow breathing. The years held in these plants wrap around me like a blanket woven from sunlight and soil. Growth, patience, care, all the quiet acts stitched together into harvest, into memory, into love shared. Sleep will come, soft and deep and healing. It will wash away worry and wake us for new days. For now the night holds us tenderly. Wherever you are, dear listener, wrapped in your own restless night, know you are held too in warmth, in hope, in gentle breathing of life that never ceases. Let the slow, steady pulse of growth cradle your dreams. You're safe here as these tomatoes are safe, nestled beneath glass and stars, waiting for dawn. The clock on the rafter shows 10:23 p.m. now, and the greenhouse has settled into its deeper rhythm, the drip line plinking every 18 seconds like a patient heartbeat, fans oscillating soft breaths of air to keep the humidity from turning stagnant at that perfect 68%. The temperature holds steady at 67 Fef, just right for these beefsteak vines to respire through the night, pulling oxygen deep into their roots while exhaling CO2, consolidating all that daytime sugar into fruit swell and stem strength. These plants don't sleep like we do. They work quieter, roots sipping from the 6.5 pH soil mix of cocoa coir, perlite and vermiculite, balanced for drainage and nutrient hold without waterlogging. I lean forward on my three-legged stool, the wood creaking familiar under me, and inspect the lower leaves on the third row, second stake plant. No yellowing margins that scream nitrogen deficiency, no powdery white spots of mildew, good calcium nitrate, fertigation keeping blossom end rot at bay, those ugly black bottoms that rot fruit from the tip up, if calcium can't move freely in irregular water. I pinch off a water sucker, that vigorous shoot sprouting in the leaf stem axil, twisting it clean at the base without tearing vascular tissue. Drop it in the compost bucket by my stool, tomorrow's worm castings, Stucker's steel photosynthate from fruit clusters, removing them 1-2 inches long channels energy where it counts, boosting yield 20-30% in indeterminate varieties like these. Memory drifts in soft as the fan breeze. Your grandma's hands demonstrating that pinch on our first backyard patch, no bigger than a queen bed. Not hacking, coaxing, she'd say, fingers nimble, leaving clean breaks. I'd butcher like clearing brush. She'd follow, patient teacher. Growth needs room, like us in this little house with big dreams. Fall harvest overflowed, neighbors with bowls, kids chomping cherries, red chin, BLTs till Thanksgiving, learnt indeterminates, these vining beasts, fruit till frost, from determinates bushy cherries, compact yield, indeterminates demand stakes, strings, weekly training, determinates self-support, but cap production, like people, some climb with guidance, others fruit where rooted. Fan sweeps 30-second cycle, stirring air, thwarting fungal spores. Heater whispers, tomatoes thrive 65-70 night, cool sets fruit hormones, warm prevents pollen sterility, below 60 Fef or abortion above 75, greenhouse 20x30, double poly, auto vents at 80 Fef day, closed night, thermostat nudge half degree, balance off, cluster 5, green globes 1 orange blush bottom, cup gentle firm, 10-day salad, 20 sauce, pollination key, bumblebees daytime buzz, flowers 100 Hz, vibrating anthers, night pollen settles, tomorrow tap clusters, if bees slack, manual, soft brush, collect yellow dust, dab pistol, grafted last March, cherry rootstock, robust wilt resistant, under beefsteak scion, flavor king, 90% take rate, parafilm seal, 75 Fef, healing dome, ladybug patrols, red shell, aphid assassin, IPM ally, no chemicals, companions, basil hornworm repellent, marigolds, nematodes, nasturtium trap aphids, yellow sticky traps, white fly, neem drench, last resort, fusarium wilt, scare last year, trichoderma biological fixed, prevention, sterile media, crop rotation, resistant varieties, chamomile half gone, dulling edges, caffeine free, stool spot prime, cherry snack reach, door drafts distant, apron pockets, pruners, Felco 2, bypass, ties, notebook blooms, week 12, first fruit, July 15, projected, vine tie needed, stem boughs, fruit load, figure 8 twine, stake stem firm, not choke, grandma, not clothesline origin, secure kind, life 2, hold steady, sway, allow, her sick year memory. Tomatoes thrived, she faded ripe to chair, salt slice, summer taste, weak smile, best yet, Last garden day, vine touch, keep us. These late red sweets, grandma's pride, silent, plants no. 1041, moon east panels, silver, stretch knees crack, arms leaf touch, soil finger moist, not soggy, stool back, midnight deep, pre 1 a.m. Whisper fine, time take, leaves greener, ritual drip like, heater off perfect, fan, ladybug holds, tea waits, kids patrol memory, son suckers wrong, daughter fist knots, dirt laughs, ripe races, scattered now, tomatoes good, you best here, trellis check. 8-foot steel cables, 24 in apart, double rows, strings drop, clips 10 in, lean lower weekly, spool shift 18-24 in cable, stems trail floor, 20-foot vines. One season 5 to 6 foot leaves energy fruit, end row loop, opposite, spacing 16 in row to 5 foot between 3.5 SQ foot plant, 30 by 96 5 double rows, 2 transplants container, soil sterilized, so cocoa / perlite, 70, 30 pH 6.0, 6.5 for NPK 5, 1020 bloom, Carno 3 BR, emitters salt 0.5 gram pH, 20 min daily, black plastic mulch, weeds soil warm 5F, white paths, light reflects, prune single stem, laterals below first flower gone, leaf 50% lower airflow, compost monthly, castings bi-weekly, LED 16.8 200 ppf DPRR, graft workshop, scion knife 45-degree slice, rootstock match, clip union, parafilm, hybrids resist, heirlooms taste, 1102, moon high, blossom cluster, auxins, gibberellins, cool night aid set, patrol row 4, hornworm eggs, none, neem standby, row 6, romus determinate, paste self, soil kit, noted piedectory, high, Borden crack, prevent, limestone pH, granddaughter pinch perfect, grower, 1119 fan heater 66.8 nudge fence auto, companion onions, thrips, garlic, rust flowers, pollinators, sun hydro NFT recirc, daughter balcony, 1137 owl vines, sway, yellow leaf 10 low test, variety beefsteak, 120 days, 1-2 lab, crack resist, Cherokee bicolor, smoky San Marzano, paste sauce, succession 2 works, and Leodone Dubtigue, in sub Eastern graft vigor, wilt cold, 1152 drip, dehumided 67%, kids hydro pots, quiet pre-2, Part 2 fills tending memories, details, fruit stack, growth unseen, eyes heavy rest, tomatoes work night holds. The night deepens to a velvet stillness around me, broken only by the measured drip of water falling into the soil, a soothing metronome that echoes the heartbeat of this living sanctuary. The thermometer dangling from the rafters reads 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and the air lies warm and humid, close to 65%, enveloping the plants in a perfect embrace, not so hot as to tire the leaves, not so cool as to arrest their growth. These tomato plants are a world unto themselves, each one a promise unfolding slowly, climbing trellises strung taut between steel cables 8 feet above the ground. These cables stretch the length of the greenhouse, spaced 2 feet apart, enabling me to train the vines upward with twine and clips, guiding their wild energy into order and purpose. spacing of 16 inches between plants, 5 feet between rows, cradles each vine in its own domain, allowing the leaves room to dance in the breeze of the circulating fans, preventing the still air that ushers in mildew and rot. These fans hum softly tonight, oscillating every 30 seconds, pulling stale air away and drawing fresh tempered warmth through the adjustable vents. I rise from my 3-legged stool and pad softly down the aisle, boots crunching over gravel, loose but well set. Fingers caress the leaves, feeling the faint fuzz and warm rigidity. Inspecting each fruit cluster, I test the firmness of their burgeoning promise. Green spheres the size of marbles, ripening slowly into embers and jewels of crimson. Pruning is a ritual I perform with respect and care. Removing water suckers, the sprightly shoots that threaten to sap vigor from the main stem, is both an art and necessity. A precise twist, no tearing, keeps the plant balanced and directs its energy toward fruit, toward life's red gifts. The roots beneath are unseen architects of this nightly dance. Moist billed with oxygen, they stretch deep into the loamy mix of cocoa quartz, perlite and vermiculite, their webbed tendrils drinking a meticulous balance of water from the drip irrigation system, calibrated to deliver half a gallon every 20 minutes, ensuring neither drought nor flood. Nutrients are a patient conversation here. Slow-release fertilizer in the soil feeds over weeks, but daily fertigation with an NPK blend balances growth and fruiting demands. Calcium nitrate wards off blossom end rot, that blackening scourge marking distress in fruit. Trace minerals dance their invisible ballet in this soil stew, their presence felt only in the healthy sheen of leaves and fruit. Pollination, the secret heart of fruit setting, is aided by nature's winged laborers in daylight, but at night I mimic their hum. A small electric toothbrush, buzzing gently, releases pollen locked in blossoms, coaxing life into every hopeful star of yellow petals. The dance of pollen and pistil is delicate. Failure means no fruit, and so I tend it with scratch and care. Already I sense the changing seasons through the chiming trees beyond the greenhouse. Faint whispers of autumn in the dropping night temperatures, in the memory woven into my bones from years of gardening with your grandma. She taught me patience, how growth does not sprint but stroll, how careful hands bring blessing, how the slow ripening too often holds the sweetest flavor. The humming fan shifts air over a cluster of cherry tomatoes, glossed with dew. Beneath, the soil smells rich and dark, a universe of life that fuels these vines. I sit once more, notebook open on my lap, each page a ledger of bloom dates, fruit set, pest sightings, a farmer's prayer written in an honest hand, worn by years. Tonight, I begin a new entry. First red tomato sighted at the top of row 3. A promise fulfilled. Website articles and farming manuals call these the basics. To me they are the language of the plants and earth, the dialogue that teaches how to listen, how to respond, how to wait for life's rhythm. Every pinch of sucker, every gentle tie of twine, every passing night spent in watchful presence is a quiet act of love, an echo of the hands that came before, and a hope for those who will come after. I sip chamomile tea, the warmth of benediction against the damp night air. Outside, the stars burn their ancient fires, scribbling light across the sky, reminding us how small and fleeting yet essential this moment of growth carries its weight. Stay with me here, surrounded by green growth, by quiet care, by the comfort of slow, purposeful life. Inhale the moist night. The plants and the night together sing a lullaby, a promise that life continues, that beauty grows even in darkness. The clock above I settle into the rough wooden stool, its 3 legs strictly balanced, scarred and polished from years of nightly vigil. The air smells rich and alive, the mingling sense of damp earth, sweet tomato leaves and the faint metallic trace of the misting system far overhead. The drip irrigation taps a steady rhythm, each drop a note in this quiet symphony of growth. In the glow of the single overhead bob, the tomato vines rise, tall and proud. Clusters of fruit hang heavily from thick stems, braided with soft green twine, strung along steel cables knotted taut above. Each plant holds a world, the crisp crunch of leaves, the soft fuzz along stems, the slow reddening of fruit in patient bloom. I reach out gently, running my fingers along the rugged stem of a beefsteak tomato in the third row. Its skin is taut, promising, not yet blushing but beginning to thicken with ripeness. Nearby, a cluster of cherry tomatoes gleam like droplets of sun, still green but eager for the next season of light. The soil breathes beneath my fingertips, held loosely by a mix of carefully balanced cocoa, perlite and vermiculite, rich and fluffy against the water's embrace. I check the moisture, dark and welcoming, without a sign of standing water that could doom delicate roots to rot. Maintaining this balance is an art tempered by experience and listening. Tonight's task is a familiar ritual, pinching off water suckers, those zealous shoots that push out along the joint where leaf meets stem, threatening to sap energy meant for fruit. I twist carefully at the base of a shoot, clean and deliberate, lawnmower hum on pause, and drop it into a compost bucket by my stool. This clearing opens the way for sunlight and resources to flow to the heavier fruit clusters, a small act of pruning that yields a harvest. The fans cycle smoothly, circulating air to prevent humidity pockets, quiet warriors against mildew and blight. I adjust a vent, pushing warmth in a steady flow, balancing the temperature within the ideal range, cool enough to foster fruit set, warm enough to prevent chill stress. Tomatoes are sensitive folk. Days too hot or cold disrupt their delicate reproductive rhythm. Pollination occupies my mind. Daytime bees take center stage, buzzing from bloom to bloom with purposeful fervor. But night requires manual mimicry, the small electric vibrator in my pocket, lightly shaking stems, coaxing pollen to fall like gold dust upon the receptive pistils, fertilizing the promise of fruit. The plants breathe, move imperceptibly, living miracles of slow, slow growth. This vinegar-strewn soil, this peaceful bubble beneath misted glass, becomes a sacred vessel cradling life across darkened hours. I sip from my thermos chamomile tonight, a tea brewed with quiet care and no betrayals of caffeine-induced restlessness. The warmth floods my chest, a balm against the cool stillness, as gentle as the breath of leaves brushing past my face. This greenhouse is a world of memory and hope, as much a sanctuary of the soul as a nursery for fruit. I recall spring seedling trays hovering near the sunny kitchen window, your grandmother's hand sneaking mucky goodness beneath tender sprigs, her voice a soft melody of patience and promise. The first fragile buds, the careful watering, the vigilant pruning, all acts of love etched in dirt and sun. Together we built this place years ago, a frame of wood and glass, tempered with sweat and stubbornness, as much a shelter for dreams as for vines. Through summers that blistered and winters that threatened, this greenhouse stood a steadfast heartbeat. Now the vines have grown tall and vigorous, their faces turned skyward for whatever grace the stars might offer. I make notes in my weathered notebook. Bloom dates, first fruit sighted, pest troubles, plant fertilization. This ledger is a quiet prayer, a record of patience and persistence. Ladybugs patrol a leaf, tiny guardians of this green empire, while beneficial predatory mites hunt unseen enemies. The balance in this living system is fragile but enduring. I lean back, savoring the scent of earth and tomato, the complex promise held in each slowly ripening sphere. Tonight, as always, I sit with them and hum low, the slow hymn of night growth, as centuries and seasons whisper in every leaf and root. Inhale deeply, friend. Feel the night breathe in sync with you. The air inside the greenhouse remains thick and warm as the night deepens to just shy of 10:30 p.m. The thermometer near the top of the frame glows softly, 68 degrees and steady. Around me, the tall tomatoes leaves are dappling gentle shadows across the gravel floor, their bundled clusters of fruit leaning heavy on green twine that suspends their hold in place. Every vine stretches in slim fingers toward the humid air, thirsty for the slow alchemy that turns water, sun, and soil into flesh. Each night I revisit this patch of earth like tending a sacred trust. The soil is a carefully balmed mixture of coca-cola, perlite, and vermiculite, light but rich with the right balance that keeps moisture steady. A drip irrigation system hums methodically, delivering precise measured splashes of water every 18 seconds, the drops falling not on leaves but into the dark loam where roots grasp eagerly. Overwatering is a jeopardy the wise avoid. Too much moisture here invites root rot, a silent killer. And yet a parched plant shriveling in thirst is a slow death too. A faint scent lingers, earthy damp, with the faintest hint of green leaves and growing fruit. It is the smell of life unfolding with patience that only years can nurture. The familiar hum of fans spinning overhead weaves into a steady backdrop, shifting air just enough to keep mold and mildew from claiming their victims. The fans breathe the breath of life across these rows and cycles, a relentless sentinel against natural enemies invisible to the casual eye. I stand the creaky stool aside and slowly move down the path. Each footfall stirs fine particles of dust and dried leaf fragments. The gravel crunches softly under worn boots. My fingers trail the thick green stems, feeling the fuzzy hairs bristle beneath touch, the plant's own armor against pests. Each node is a crossroad laden with possibility, a cluster of developing fruit, a bud poised to bloom, a leafy sucker ready to be gently plucked. Pruning is the act of curating potential. I carefully remove leaf suckers, vigorous shoots, sprouting at the axil of leaf and stem. These deceptive little shoots rob energy from the fruit-bearing branches if left unchecked. A precise pinch at the base removes their ambition and directs all vigor into main stems and ripening clusters. Cutting too hard invites bruising, too light and the plant wastes strength. I observe the carefully tied twine supports. The metal cables 8 feet above suspend taut strings that allow the vines to lean, an artful technique developed over many seasons to keep fruit off the floor yet within reach. The trellis system in this greenhouse spans 30 feet by 15 feet, structured to optimize space and airflow. The row spacing of 5 feet balances plant density with disease control, while 16-inch in-row spacing avoids overcrowding. The growing medium beneath is just right, well aerated, rich with nutrients, blended with care to balance water retention with drainage. Calcium is abundant here, preventing blossom end rot, that blackening scourge that ruins fruit overnight. Fertigation installation delivers a balanced nutrient solution, NPK 5-10-20, through the irrigation system, tailored weekly to support blooms and fruit set. The vines pulse quietly in the growing hush. A few blossoms hanging like golden stars await their turn. Pollination normally happens by daytime humming bumblebees, but nights like these require a gardener's touch, a vibrator gently shaking flowers to mimic the buzz of wings and encourage fruit set. Every flower is a promise needing careful tending. The interplay of light through the polyethylene panels paints complex shadows, shifting slowly as the single hanging bulb, though dim, washes the leaves with honeyed warmth, soft enough to soothe, but bright enough to reveal each detail. This nocturnal garden is a sanctuary, not just of plants, but of memories. The first delicate seedlings started indoors back in March, transplanted after hardening off, watched anxiously through cloudy skies, bitter winds and gentle rains. Your grandmother's hands taught me not only how to prune, but how to watch, how to listen to notice when she'd crouch low and say, "Still thirsty here," or "Leaves feel thin over there." Gardening became an act of prayer and hope, a testament to patience and care. The drip keeps time as I watch a ladybug patrol a leaf. She claims as her domain a tiny natural predator combating aphids and whiteflies. Biological pest control here is a quiet war with beneficial nematodes, sticky traps and companion plants like basil and marigold, playing their parts in an intricate ecosystem. I sit back on the stool, pulling my flannel shirt sleeves down over weathered hands, and sip chamomile tea, warm and gentle without caffeine's bite. The humid, earthy air mingles with the tea's sweetness. It's a comfort for more than just the throat. Outside, distant owls call against the night's vast velvet, and the moonlight filters cold and silver above the broad leaves and ripening fruit. We are part of cycles far older than us. The silent orchestration of sun and rain, root and shoot, flower and fruit. Each storm weathered, each season's turn contributes to the slow, steady progress toward the harvest that enlivens table and memory. This page in the ledger, the weathered notebook where I record bloom dates, first red fruit, pest sightings, is both confession and guidance, a record of hope and effort, of lessons rooted in cycles and repetition. As the night deepens, I close my eyes briefly, breathing the stillness, feeling the heartbeat of earth beneath my feet, and these precious growing lives around me. For anyone awake and listening, know this: growth is quiet, but relentless. Patience bears fruit even when unseen. The world keeps turning, and so can we. The night wraps the greenhouse in deep quiet, soothing and alive. Near 10:30 p.m, the thermometer hangs silent, reading a steady 68 degrees Fahrenheit, the air thick with 65% humidity, the perfect comfort for these vines to breathe and grow under soft yellow light. This place is a sanctuary of patience and nurture. Outside the world fades, but inside life pulses steady. Drip irrigation produces a slow, purposeful rhythm as water droplets fall carefully only on the soil beneath, never wetting leaves so as to prevent danger from fungal diseases like blight or mold. The vines tower overhead, their leaves soft but strong, brushing my arms gently as I settle on my familiar wooden stool. Heavy clusters of tomatoes in varied stages, small green orbs, gold-tinged maturing fruit, bold reds bursting with promise, hang thickly from strong main stems braided with cruciform scaffolding of green twine into steel cables high above. Soil beneath is carefully mixed and aerated. Koa, perlite and vermiculite blend perfectly to retain moisture, while allowing air pockets crucial for root health. My fingers probe the topsoil, moist, dark, welcoming. Irrigation delivers measured drips tailored to these plants' precious thirst, avoiding overwatering's perils. These are indeterminate vine tomatoes, capable of growing a dazzling 6 to 8 feet, requiring constant vigilance, training upward with ties and pruning sucker shoots, threatening to divert energy. Pinching those vigorous shoots is a delicate art, a daily exercise in focus, coaxing life toward fruit over foliage. The greenhouse fans pulse low around me, moving the air so leaves can dry and breathe, stopping the build-up of damp that invites powdery mildews, silent siege. Steady temperature control with thermostats and vents adjusts cold nights to warm days, a complex choreography to keep the plants comfortable. Pollination usually unfolds through the industry of buzzing bumblebees during the day, but night calls for a gardener's artifice. A small handheld vibrator set to a gentle hum shakes the flower clusters, imitating the bee's buzz and coaxing pollen to fertilize the tiny yellow blossoms, ensuring next season's fruit. The memories crowd softly. Your grandmother's gentle hands learning alongside mine, teaching patience, care, how each pinch, each leaf cut was a love letter to growth. The first transplant from seed trays, the thrill of the first red fruit, the stubborn vines thriving under her proud gaze. The greenhouse holds more than plants, it holds stories stitched in dirt and time. Each day, notes in a weathered notebook record bloom progress, ripening schedules, pests battled, and the steadfast rhythm of growth in this sacred space. Under the humid glow, ladybugs roam, tiny predators silently guarding the plants from aphids and whiteflies, natural allies in an organic war. The air hums gently with life and promise. The soil breathes beneath my boots. The vines lean in with a patient embrace. Here growth unfolds slow and sure, cradled in hands both steady and weathered. This night holds us both in its gentle grasp, a shared vigil in the quiet heart of life. The night wraps the greenhouse in a soft, living quiet, the kind that settles deep into your shoulders and tells your racing thoughts they can rest for a while. The air feels warm and full, like breathing inside a memory, thick with the earthy sweetness of soil and the faint green breath of leaves reaching toward some unseen light. The single bulb overhead casts a gentle glow, painting the tomato vines in shades of honey and shadow, their broad leaves curling slightly at the edges as if whispering secrets to each other in the still hours. I shift on my wooden stool, feeling the familiar give of the seat beneath me, worn smooth from countless nights just like this one. The vines brush my arms as I lean forward, their leaves soft and slightly fuzzy against my skin, warm from the day's lingering sun that stored itself deep in the stems. Somewhere nearby, a drip of water falls into the soil with a sound so small it's almost not there, a gentle plink that echoes like a distant rain on a tin roof, steady and unhurried, marking time in a way that feels kind rather than demanding. These tomatoes have grown tall around me now, their branches heavy with fruit that hangs in quiet clusters, some still green and smooth as river stones, others beginning to soften at the edges with the first blush of colour. I reach out and cup one gently in my palm, feeling its weight, the way it fills my hand with a promise that's been building for weeks. The skin is taut but yielding, warm like it's holding on to summer even as the night deepens outside. The vines sway just a little when the fan breathes across them, a soft rustle that sounds like pages turning in an old book, each leaf settling into place after sharing whatever it was, whispering. The soil beneath my feet smells rich and dark like the earth after a gentle rain, damp but not heavy, alive with the quiet work of roots stretching downward, finding what they need in the cool darkness. I run my fingers along the base of a stem, feeling the way it anchors itself, steady and sure, drawing up water and life from places I can't see. There's comfort in that, knowing things are working even when you can't watch them, even when the night hides everything but the feeling of it all. A memory comes soft as the fan's breeze, drifting in like it belongs here among the leaves. Your grandma used to sit right where I am now, her hands moving through the vines with a touch that was firm but never harsh, like she was coaxing rather than commanding. She'd pinch off the little shoots that grew too eager, the ones that wanted to take more than their share, and drop them into a bucket with a quiet satisfaction. Let them focus, she'd say, her voice low and warm, on what matters most. We'd spend hours like that, the two of us, sunlight filtering through the glass back then, turning everything golden, her laughter mixing with the rustle of leaves when I'd get it wrong and leave too much behind. Those afternoons stretched long and sweet, the air thick with the smell of growing things, and the faint tang of ripe fruit we'd picked just to taste right there, juice running down our chins, while the world outside hurried on without us. She had a way of making time feel generous, like the vines themselves were teaching us to slow down, to wait for ripeness instead of rushing toward it. Even now, sitting here in the dark, I can almost feel her beside me, her shoulder brushing mine, her fingers showing me again how to tie the twine, just loose enough to hold, but not to bind. The fan turns again, sending a wave of warm air across my face, carrying the scent of damp earth and something sweeter, like the promise of fruit just beginning to dream of being picked. The leaves catch the light in different ways now, some deep green and glossy, others softer at the edges, where the new growth is pushing out, tender and unfolding. I trace one with my fingertip, feeling the tiny hairs that cover it, nature's own gentle armor against the world. They're alive in ways we forget to notice during the day, breathing slow and deep, turning darkness into the strength they'll need for tomorrow's sun. Outside, the night sounds come muffled through the glass, a distant owl calling to its mate, the soft hush of wind moving through the trees, crickets singing their endless song. But in here, it's different, protected, the world reduced to the rustle of leaves and the steady fall of water into soil. The glass walls hold it all close, turning the greenhouse into a world of its own, where time moves at the pace of growing things rather than clocks and calendars. Yeah, I remember the first summer we planted these vines together, how the seedlings started so small on the kitchen windowsill, just fragile green threads reaching for light. She'd water them with an eyedropper, careful not to overwhelm, talking to them in that low voice of hers about how they'd grow strong if they just took their time. We moved them outside when the frost drifts passed, hardening them off day by day, watching them toughen against the breeze until they stood ready for the open ground. That patience paid off in buckets of fruit, enough to fill jars and share with neighbours, each one tasting like the long wait that brought it there. The memory brings her closer, like the warmth of the air itself is carrying her voice. She'd sit here in the evening sometimes after the kids were asleep, just breathing with the plants, letting the quiet fill up all the spaces where words weren't needed. They're like us, she'd say, needing the right conditions to really shine. And they did shine, those tomatoes, red and gold against the green, heavy with the kind of sweetness that comes from being tended well. A soft breeze from the vent stirs the leaves again, and I watch the way they move together, a gentle wave rolling down the row. One vine in particular catches my eye, its fruit cluster fuller than the others. The tomatoes nestle close like eggs in a nest, each one a little different in shape and shade. The largest one, almost ripe, has a soft give when I touch it, the skin smooth and promising. I leave it there, letting it have one more night to deepen its flavour, to pull everything it needs from the vine that's held it so carefully. The soil round the base is dark and crumbly, alive with the quiet work of worms and microbes, turning last season's leaves into the nourishment for this one. It's a cycle that never stops, even in the dark, things breaking down to make way for new growth, the old feeding the young without fanfare or complaint. There's peace in watching that happen, in knowing the work continues, whether you're looking or not. The drip falls again, right on time, and I let the sound wash over me, steady as breathing. The leaves above rustle in response, as if acknowledging the gift, settling a little deeper into their rest. The air feels heavier now, full of the night's quiet labour, the slow unfolding of life that doesn't need light to keep going. Roots reach deeper, sugars move from leaf to fruit, everything working together in the dark. Another memory surfaces, gentle as mist. The summer the rain came too hard and too long, turning the paths to mud and threatening to drown the vines. We spent days propping them up, digging trenches to carry the water away, your grandma knee-deep in muck with a smile that said trouble was just another thing to tend. They'll forgive us, she laughed, wiping mud from her face, as long as we don't give up. And they did forgive, coming back stronger, fruit sweeter for the struggle. That was her way, seeing the long view, trusting the roots to hold when the surface got messy. I smile into the dark, feeling that strength still here in these vines, passed down through seasons and care. The fan breathes again, carrying the scent of earth and leaf across the row, touching every plant with the same gentle attention. One leaf in particular, near the top of the vine, catches the light just right, glowing soft green like it's holding its own small sun. I reach up and steady a branch that's bowing a little too far, tying it back with a loop of twine that's soft against the stem, giving support without taking freedom. The night outside deepens, stars brightening through the glass roof. But in here time feels suspended, wrapped in green and warm. The tomatoes hang patient, each one a small world of its own, growing toward ripeness without hurry or worry. I let my hand rest on the soil, feeling the cool dampness, the quiet pulse of life beneath. It's good to be here, good to witness this slow miracle, good to share it with you in the quiet hours. The leaves rustle once more, the drip falls steady, and the night holds us both in its gentle arms. Let it carry you now, soft and slow, into rest. The night has softened into its deepest hush now, the kind where the world outside feels like a distant dream, muffled by the gentle curve of glass walls that hold this warm pocket of life close. The air inside feels thicker, heavier, with the scent of earth and leaf, as if the greenhouse itself is breathing slow and deep, drawing everything into a quiet rhythm. The vines around me seem taller in this light, or perhaps it's just the way the shadows play, stretching long and soft across the gravel floor, turning every leaf into a silhouette of peace. I sit still on my stool, letting the warmth settle into my bones. The stool's wood cradling me like an old friend who's seen every restless night and never judged. The tomatoes hang patient in their clusters, some with skins so full and smooth they glow faintly in the dim light, others still dreaming green, nestled safe among the leaves. One vine in particular draws my eye, its fruits the ripest of all, heavy and ready, their colour deepened to that perfect shade where summer lives forever in a single bite. I reach out, but don't pick yet, letting my fingers rest near it, feeling the shared warmth, the quiet promise of tomorrow's harvest when the sun returns. The drip of water is slowed to an almost imperceptible whisper, each drop finding its way into the soil like a secret shared between friends. The leaves above rustle faintly as the fan makes its lazy turn, sending a breath of air that carries the faint sweetness of ripening fruit across the rows. It's as if the plants are settling in for the night too, their work done for now, roots curling deeper into the cool earth, drawing up one last sip of nourishment before rest. The glass overhead shows the stars clearer now, pinpricks of light filtering through, turning the condensation into a soft veil that blurs the edges of the world. Memories come like the fan's breeze, gentle and unhurried. I think of the mornings we'd harvest together, your grandma and I, baskets filling slow with the weight of red jewels pulled warm from the vine. She'd twist them free with a practiced hand, leaving the stem behind like a polite farewell, then slice one open right there on the potting bench, salt shaker passed between us. The juice would run bright and sweet, tasting of all the patience we'd poured into them, the long afternoons pruning, the evenings watching for the first blush of colour, the quiet faith that waiting would bring something good. Those tomatoes weren't just fruit, they were summers captured, shared meals around a table, loud with laughter, jars lining the shelves come winter like stored sunlight. The air feels softer still, the humidity wrapping around like a blanket, woven from mist and green. I close my eyes for a moment, listening to the greenhouse breathe, the faint creak of the frame settling, the rustle of leaves brushing each other, the distant call of an owl outside, blending with the drip's steady song. Everything here moves together, connected in ways that don't need explaining, roots feeding stems, leaves catching what light there is, fruit swelling with the gifts from below. It's a reminder that some of the best things happen out of sight, in the dark quiet, where no one's watching. One last memory lingers, warm as the air itself. The year the vines gave more than we expected, branches bending low under the weight of fruit, enough to share with neighbours, who knocked with empty bowls and full smiles. We'd sit right here after, tired but content, her head on my shoulder, talking about nothing and everything, while the stars wheeled overhead. This is what matters, she'd murmur, hand on a vine, the tending, the waiting, the sweetness at the end, and she was right. The harvest was never just about the tomatoes, it was about the care that brought them there, the hands that held steady through every season. The night feels complete now, full and gentle, ready to let go into morning. The vines lean in closer, their leaves framing the soft glow, promising they'll be here when light returns. Stronger, riper, waiting patient as always. I stand slow, knees unfolding with a quiet creak, and run my hand one last time along the nearest stem, feeling the life pulsing steady beneath the skin. Wherever you are tonight, with thoughts that won't quiet or worries that cling too tight, let this greenhouse hold you too. Feel the warmth of the air, the softness of the leaves, the steady drip like a heartbeat slowing you down. Everything growing here has faced its own dark nights, storms rattling the glass, cold threatening the roots, but morning always comes, bringing light and ripeness and new beginnings. You're safe in that same rhythm, cradled by earth and time, with nothing to do but rest. Close your eyes now. Let the vines whisper you towards sleep, their leaves brushing away the day's weight. The night watches over you, gentle and sure. Tomorrow waits with open arms, full of promise. Sleep well, dear one, you're home here. Sweet dreams.